with the lid on. I should probably record on this. Welcome back to the show. If you guys are new here, this is a TikTok live show on the Bogetti Bunch TikTok that ends up on YouTube, on Bogetti Studios YouTube, as a long-form podcast where I just come on here randomly throughout the week, no rhyme or reason, no planning, normally when my son CJ is asleep, and we talk about cars. Now, a couple things going on this weekend. I actually cleaned and took my CTSV to a car show, that one. My wife traded in her Trailblazer RS 2021, I think it was, for a brand new Chevy Traverse. Drives pretty nice, honestly. The little 4-cylinder actually has enough pep in its step to where I was actually pretty satisfied driving it. We also talk about random car topics. I have a bunch of things listed out here, but we tend to get a lot of questions and I get derailed very quickly, which ruins the podcast viewing experience, I'd imagine. But I think it's all part of the fun of the ADHD of I can't stay on a topic for too long, but then I can stay on topic for way too long as well. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just a mix of it. Sometimes we end up talking about things for a very, very long time. Are you and Cleet on good standing? It's always about Cleet. Always has been. No, just kidding. Yes, I was at his house the other night. We had some steaks. I brought over some filet mignons, and we had some steaks. We also just went to Disney 2 weekends ago, the weekend before this, with our families. How many wagon V's are left on the road? I don't know. So the numbers on CTSV wagons are actually pretty slim. There was 700 CTSV wagons produced in total. There was 10,000 non-V wagons, so there's only about 12,000 wagons that exist for the second generation. So it's already pretty low. So even if like you damage something on the V and want to switch it over to like a base model and like make it a fake V, there's not all that many. I've tried. I've tried to buy a non-V. And then when you start to, I want to do a whole video on this, but when you start to get into the real nitty gritty on like, say like this car, where it's got the sunroof, black interior, automatic, yellow brake calipers, Recaro seats, you start to really slim down. Oh, and the paint, the black diamond tri-coat. There's only, I think, 100 that match it, that are in its same spec, like 115 when you option it down to that level. So it is really cool. VinWiki. I've literally never been on VinWiki. I've watched a ton of the episodes, but I've never been on VinWiki. I don't know what goes on there. Maybe I should put my car in. I don't know. Do people use it like that? I feel like when his YouTube took off so much, he kind of like sidelined VinWiki for what it was, and then became more of like a YouTube guy. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. What do you guys think? Is that accurate? Like I said, never been on it. Maybe I should try putting in some of my cars, but nothing I have besides the CTSV is really worth like being on VinWiki. It's still used to list race cars. Is it? Like race cars, like road car, like time attack cars? Like what do people list on there? I go on Cars and Bids like every single day just because I like the way that they display everything, and you know, it's a fun thing to scroll on. But is it worth digging into VinWiki? The CTSV forums have a location, not the forums, but like the Facebook group has a location where they have all of the where they show the numbers breakdown in like a really legitimate spreadsheet. Like it's pretty significant. Like they have every single option listed out, and you can really hone in on exactly how many. You can go and see like there's like 2 purple wagons, 2 of them, which is so cool. And even the wagons is funny because there's 1,700, and more than half of them are automatic, but not by that much more. So like automatic manual, yeah, like there's like 200 or 300 more automatics, but it's not as crazy as you think. Like they're both very on the rare side. I feel like I sound like such a boomer talking about it. Oh, the yellow saffron interior is pretty cool. I personally don't want it, but I think it looks really good on the coupes. Definitely a big fan of that. Yeah, I know. I need a beverage cart. We were talking about how tracks don't have beverage carts, which would be really nice. You know, like you go to a golf course, which I've only been maybe once or twice, and you see these like beverage carts driving around, and you're like, oh wow, that's so convenient. And then you're like at the drag strip, and you're all the way at the top end, and you don't really have time to go wait in line, and you're like, man, it'd be really nice if like a beverage cart would show up and sell me a Gatorade. I would love to purchase a Gatorade on the go. Not beer. I don't drink alcohol anyways, but you know, purchase like a sandwich, like a hot sandwich maybe. You know, they could have a couple pre-wrapped things, some fries. It wouldn't be really that difficult at all. But I don't know. Trying. Definitely trying. I did see Cletus has a new giveaway coming out. I don't know. I think he's going to announce it today. I don't know. It's actually pretty cool. Big Ford guy, you know? Maybe I gave away too much, but I was looking at that. 1320's also got a giveaway going. There's a lot of giveaways going on in this world. Even Vice Grip Garage just gave away that red ZL1 Camaro, which I really do like those cars. They're very good looking cars. I do not like red on cars. I think red is not a color I would want to own in a vehicle, but I would give away some Sriracha. Is Matt Cletus's new cameraman? I don't know. Maybe. Just build a Coyote. Yeah, but it would have to be a race car, and then we're talking like a $80,000 car, and I ain't got cheddar like that. I got a second kid due in November. I ain't about to build an $80,000 race car. You guys are crazy. I would love to say yeah, maybe if you guys like the live stream and give me some galaxies, I too can afford to build your dream car. Is that how it is? Like, please buy the merch so I can build your dream car. Right? Become a member, donate, subscribe, send me money in the mail, and I can build your dream car. That's how it works, right, with YouTube. I even have... This is where I really become a nerd. The Chevrolet Camaro. Only 60K in. Does it have a full cage? Does it have a 9-inch? There's your next. If it doesn't have a cage, then it's not a drag car. See, even in here I got it bookmarked where my 4th gen sits. Where is it? 4,987 light pewter metallic 4th gens. That's when it's bad. I bought a V6 Camaro. It's a V6 base model stick shift car, and I wanted to know how many they had of it. That's too far. I'm 40K in with cage, 9-inch TH400, and a turbo Barra in Aussie dollars too. That must have been pre-COVID, because you ain't getting that now. I mean, I don't know what Australia's got going on. You guys have a very small population of people comparatively, so maybe pricing is a little different, but 40K ain't getting you all of that stuff, like quality built. Not with like a good not with like a good TH400 case, and not with like a really solidly built motor. That would be my only thoughts on that. What do I have up here? Let's go to my notes card. I'm 65K deep in a Turbo Barra Capri, and I fabricated 50% myself. That's fair. I mean, I would say fabricating 50% of it yourself, but what are we talking about? Like the full cage and everything? Because that's where it always hits that expensive part in my build thoughts, is once you need like a real cage. Because the cage is a real cage, not just an 850. 850 cages are not worth doing anymore, in my opinion, because 850 is a very easy number to hit. You kind of have to do like a 25.3 or 25.2 cage, or else it's really not worth doing, because 850 is so relatively slow at that point that any turbo LS can run 840s easily. And I kind of ran into that on sick week with my Camaro, where I could not get that thing to run. I was struggling to get it to go 850s. 850 was the fastest I could go with my cage certification, because we're still missing a couple bars, but I was struggling to get it to go 850. I had to lift at like the right point. I had to be on the brakes. It was just a fight. And I was only limited by my cage. I wasn't limited by the class. And it was just lame. Yeah, but that's the thing. Take it to Yellow Belly, no cage needed, but it's like, the cage isn't for the safety crew. The cage is for me. I need the cage for my own protection, and so that my kids can grow up with a father. That's where it becomes like the moral and ethical debate. It's like, yeah, can you squeeze by with like some dangerous stuff? Sure, but rules are written in blood for a reason. Like they're written because it's dangerous, you know? Like I'm the one that's trying to protect myself. Yes, some things I think are a little silly, like getting new harnesses every 2 years, even if your harnesses are fully safe and good. I mean, like the 4-point harnesses, or what are they? 5-point harnesses are perfectly fine. They sat in a car for 1.5 years. I got them 6 months into their expiration, so they expire every 2 years, and I got them 6 months in because Summit just sends whatever. They don't care. They hold the inventory. One thing about safety belts is always buy them from the manufacturer instead of buying them from the what's it called? The like dealer. So always do that, because you end up getting old stuff like I did, and I dealt with some old belts. I've actually twice had that happen to me, unfortunately, because I was in a rush both times, and I realized, I was like, oh no, I've found what I need. What do you think about true street classes not allowing cages that run 5s in the 8th? Again, I mean, it's do they not allow them? Because anytime you don't allow safety is weird to me. I believe you should always be allowed to have as much safety as possible. That's the same issue that all steel, all glass runs in with front windshields, because Lexan windshields are actually a safety concern, not just like a thing that you can make rules about. So if the car is going fast enough to justify needing the safety, making a rule that says you can't have that safety is just insane. That's my personal take on it. I mean, you can't tell somebody. That'd be like saying you can't wear a Hans device. Oh, sorry, you can't wear your Hans device because this is a street car class. Oh, you can't wear your gloves or your racing shoes because this is a street car class. It does not make any sense. I do still have the V1. It's parked in the storage shed, unfortunately. When I moved into the house in 2019, I did have plans to build it, but then I built the Camaro instead, and I was like, I'll get back to it later. And then life happens, and did not come back to it later. I still hope to. I actually really like the look of that car, and those cars are really rare too. I think they only made 4,500 first-gen CTSVs. I don't know, I just really like that car. Your 11th gen Civic Si is very cool. I will always tell you that. Don't worry. What's it? Squeezable mayonnaise. That is the best type of mayonnaise as well. Isn't sour cream just Hispanic mayonnaise, right? Would you guys agree with that? I do enjoy both mayonnaise and sour cream very much. Maybe it's just white people things that they put on as like a white condiment. It's just either mayo or sour cream for when it has rice and beans with it. Sour cream is delicious. It's one of the best. I had it the other day with, what was I, dipping freaking chicken nuggets in sour cream. But neither sour cream or mayo is very hot. I prefer Frank's Red Hot. If we're talking about hot sauces that have the best flavor and spice balance, I like a good Frank's Red Hot. That's it. Call me basic. Cholula is good, right? Cholula? I don't know. I can't say it. That's why I never end up getting it, because I can't ask for it when I'm at places. Do you sell Yellowbird sauce? Do they sell Yellowbird sauce? I've never heard of that. What is Yellowbird sauce? Is it something they sell at like a H-E-B? Because I will say, H-E-B might be the best grocery store I've ever been to. Tabasco? It's too watery. I like a little bit of thickness to the sauce, you know? Not quite, I mean, even like sriracha thickness, but actually taste good would be convenient. I don't like a vinegar-based deal where it's so, What's the best towing rig? That's a deep question. I've done some writing on drag racing and picking a tow rig, because I've dealt with both. I've been a part of a toter life a little bit. I've been a part of a diesel pusher and towed that thing all over the place. I've towed a dually all over the place. I've towed a single wheel truck all over the country. I personally think the RV life is awesome, but you gotta bring like a smart car or something with you, because it gives you such little maneuverability when you get places. I mean, we've been places where you just park, and that's kind of what you have to do. You have to have a second person with you when you get to a really long vehicle like a diesel pusher, because you are going to get caught up in some weird spots, some weird turns, some weird angles or something like that that just gets you stuck, where you need a second person to be watching, or else you're going to have a bad time. I wish I could read these comments a little better. Can I put them above me? Is that an option on TikTok? I don't know, because they're right on my shirt. Very annoying, very irritating. I need to flip the whole thing somehow. But I personally really enjoyed having the RV, because you actually had a lot of space when you were at the track, and you felt like you could be at the track for longer. If you don't plan to race 2, 3, 4 days, or actually be on the road a lot, and you just go to the track and you need something that tows well, a toter home, even an older one, like a pre-emissions one, is super awesome to get. I would absolutely buy one of those, but it would be a little tight, honestly. Even Garrett's, the toter like that, talking like a toter, like a fifth wheel style toter, it gets a little tight in there. We're at World Cup with that, and it works, but it's a little tight. I mean, when I was at World Cup, I slept in his trailer. I didn't sleep in the toter. I think it was me and James were in there. Maybe Zach? No, I think it was just me and James. But it gets a little tight, but it's not that bad. I mean, sleeping in the trailer's fine. It got pretty cold at World Cup, but it was still fine. But the diesel pusher just gives so much space. I always dream about them. every time me and Bronte start talking, because I'd love to travel with the family when CJ gets a little older. I've kind of laid low for the past 2 years, mostly because I'm trying to be full dad mode to kind of get these kids off the ground a little bit, because that's how it kind of feels to me. It's like, okay, I'm gonna have 2 kids here soon. Let me get them like off the ground a little bit and then dive back deeper into actually racing my personal car. I still plan to race my car, but not to the level we were racing in like 2020, 2021, and 2022. So maybe then get like a diesel pusher and actually be able to travel a good amount, because those things are pretty awesome and they do really good loans on them. People get like a 30-year mortgage on diesel pushers, which is pretty cool. I do appreciate that you can get like a nice long-term loan, really put yourself into generational debt. Seventh wood fire oven bagels. Unfortunately, that out the AI. Will you buy a car for your kid? I don't know. I mean, that's so hard to know. He's so young. Maybe he'll just want one of my cars. Maybe we'll build something together. I don't know. I mean, my parents didn't buy me a car. They helped me, of course, get it and like figure out buying a car, but they didn't buy it for me. I worked for like every summer pretty tirelessly to be able to buy my first car. And then I wrecked it almost immediately, but that's a different story. Just living life, we all end up with a zero balance. That is true. Yeah, you can't take it with you. But you're not really supposed to spend it on yourself either. You're supposed to spend it on the people. That's kind of the Christian way, is to not hoard wealth. Okay, let's talk about this. Do you guys agree with me that Hoonigan editing style has damaged automotive YouTube? The memes being forced in there. I'm just trying to consume the content. I don't need fluff, and I feel like the memes that were just shoehorned in, and they are so shoehorned in to such an aggressive level that it's like forced now, and I'm like, everyone's doing it. Everyone cuts away to SpongeBob mostly, or a movie reference, or other car reference. Like, there's just too many cuts. I get they're trying for the TikTok mentality, but it has become too much. It was okay when it was centralized to what Hoonigan did, but now it has infiltrated everyone. They saw that it worked well for Hoonigan, and it worked well for what's it called? What's the other one? Donut Media. They did the same thing, and it just got too far. I prefer just simple, as basic as it can be. If you have to cut 50 times in one sentence, you need to work on your speaking a little bit. You need to figure that out and, maybe do a second take. If every other word is cut because you couldn't speak in a fluid sentence, maybe that's a personal problem you need to figure out. I don't think that falls on me as a viewer that has to like twitch because there's 1,002 cuts. That's just me being a boomer, and I'm fine with that. I just think that there's a certain level of what we can see. Even like when I'm doing this with one camera. Some people would do this same thing with 3 camera angles and just cut back and forth, and I'm just sitting here talking. It'd be one thing if I showed you what I'm looking at, but like, we don't need 50 different camera angles on nothing. We don't need 100 different cuts in a sentence. If you, it's just frustrating. It's very annoying to see, and I get why people do it. I understand that it has to be done, and people, yeah, Whistling Diesel's last video, I mean, maybe not his last one. His last one was kind of a curveball, I would say, but there was one that I watched, and it was like giving me a migraine because of how many cuts there was. I couldn't believe the editing style, and it may work really well. That may be the best editing style to use. Who am I to say? I don't have 10 million subscribers. I don't plan on destroying a Bugatti. I mean, I don't plan on it, but you know, who knows what'll happen in this world. But again, it's gone too far. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get involved in the whistling thing. He might make a video attacking my entire family. If you do that, he was pretty mad at CoffeeZilla for all of their issues. Are you a parts or car hoarder or collectibles? Now, I don't really collect anything. I have some photos of my cars. I don't have any like collection. I don't collect Hot Wheels. I don't try to hoard parts, really. They are not really worth hoarding. I try not to hoard cars because they wither away. My neighbor has a couple cars and they've kind of withered away since I've moved in here, and it kind of woken me up to don't hoard cars, just let them go. My kid loves Hot Wheels, loves the monster trucks, like the big ones, like the 1/16th scale or 1/32nd scale, something like that. 1/36 scale. And I just tend not to want to hoard any of that stuff because it's just useless clutter. As much as I have a lot of it, I don't actively hoard it. I would sell it all in a heartbeat if a buyer was there. I list it all the time. Every like 8 months, I try to do like a clean out and just list some stuff. If it's sat for that long, list it. You know, like if it hasn't moved in a year, for sale. Sometimes things aren't worth putting on Facebook Marketplace. That's a balance me and my wife had, conversation we had the other day. It's like, if something's like $20, is it worth haggling with somebody on Facebook Marketplace? Is it? Or is it just like not worth it at all? I mean, that's kind of how I feel about it a little bit. It's just not worth haggling over, I don't know, maybe like $100 is worth it. But then you gotta like align a meetup and all this stuff. It's just like, not trying to deal with that. You know, like there's a threshold. $20, maybe. Like $20 may be the bare minimum of something I would deal with somebody on Facebook Marketplace with. That's how it feels. And also, under $100, I'll only haggle the price so I don't have to break a bill. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, but like it's just so time consuming for $20. Like to list it, to message people back and forth, to do the whole song and dance, like meet up with people. It's just like, what is your time valued at? How long is that going to take you? Is it going to take you over 2 hours? Is it going to take you an hour? If it takes you an hour, I mean, I guess that makes sense. If it takes you 2-3 hours and you got to like drive to meet up with somebody, no, it's not worth it. It just becomes not worth it. You just throw it away. That's why people have all those videos of them destroying things instead of actually selling them to the people that were lowballing them. The V-Wagons, they get like one rust spot right behind the grill. I'd be curious how rusted out up north V-Wagon is. I mean, this one came from up north, but it was pretty garage kept from what I can tell. It wasn't really rusted out. It's unlikely if somebody drove it in the snow and got it rusty. I feel like they're not a car that somebody would have done that to. It's not like you're finding some older muscle car maybe that somebody did use as like a daily driver. Like they were always known as a car that was gonna appreciate, so people kind of treated them that way. Is it Outlaw Armageddon this weekend? That race does seem pretty cool. Do they do a live feed for that? was watching some of Jake's live feed from, or not Jake's, but one of the live feeds at Jake's race this weekend. It just, drag racing's so tough to watch on a live feed. It is so slow moving at times. Like, you're sitting there waiting. Like, me and CJ were trying to watch, but he doesn't have the patience for that. I don't have the patience for that. I don't have the patience to have a TV open and wait 20 minutes, 30 minutes for anything to happen. Like, it just, and that's not a dig on Jake at all. Like, he puts on an awesome show, but it's so difficult to watch drag racing like that. I mean, I don't even have patience for World Cup half the time. It's just, again, it's so slow moving. No yellow cars do look good. Forever Grudge Racing right now. What is Forever Grudge? Is that on YouTube? I mean, it really shows how invaluable things like 1320 are, but they need to be timely. Like, if 1320 was there filming Jake's race, which I don't know if they were, it needs to come out today. It needs to be, like, right after. That track channel, Gary, is really good at that. He comes out with the videos right after. And that is the key to doing it. Okay, so why all the hate on Evos lately? I don't hate Evos at all. I like Evos. I even like Evo 10s, which is like the controversial one. I think Evos are really cool. I think Evos they're one of those cars that stopped, not because, like, they didn't stop because they just, like, fizzled out, which I actually appreciate. You know, looking back on it from the 1,000-foot view we have now, when they stopped making the Evos, it wasn't because they stopped in a lull. They stopped, like, at a good stopping point. They knew they were going to ruin the name, so they just stopped. Maybe that's not true. Maybe some people say they ruined it with the Evo 10, but I think the Evo 10 was a good end to the series. I think if they tried to keep making it past, 2016, they would have really ruined it. And I think we would see that with a lot of other names and a lot of other brands. Like, it's literally the Joker, or who said that? Two-Face? You either live long enough to see yourself become the hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain, or you die a hero. Kind of how the Evo went out. It died a hero. It did not live long enough to see itself become the laughing stock of the car world, which I respect. I like that. Like, yeah, I mean, that's fair on the motor change if you're more of like an Evo purist. As just like a car guy, not like a Evo purist, I tend to not care about the engine super heavily, like not care that it's changed from it is. I know that it's still pretty good. It puts out enough power. Obviously the 10 is so different than what it was before that it doesn't really hold the same lineage anyways. Will CJ be in a junior dragster? I hope not. Have you ever been at a junior dragster race? The dads are constantly fighting. The kids are off in the trailer playing video games. The things sound horrible. It's a cool skill and all, but I honestly would rather him ride go-karts. I would honestly rather put that money into go-karting because I think it builds a better skill. I think even like circle track builds a better skill. Go-karting builds a better skill. Junior dragsters, like, you don't need that. Maybe when you get to like a door car and you can go bracket racing, like 15 years old, but I mean, come on. Go shifter kart racing. I've seen Jeremy's sons, Jeremy from Auto, his sons were shifter kart racing the entire time I knew him, and they both have very, very good driving skills because of that. The shifter karts teach such a strong skill set And honestly, you'll get a more well-versed skill set in the shifter cars because you, like a race, it teaches you all of it. It teaches you the handling, it teaches you respect of the vehicle, it teaches you how to maintain the vehicle, you have to learn the lines, you have to, like, there's so much that you learn from a shifter car. Is it more? Maybe, I don't know, probably, but you can do that on a pretty good budget too. I mean, more of like a Tony kart than a shifter cart. You wouldn't put like a, like a 10-year-old in a shifter cart or like an 8-year-old or whatever it is. Circle Track 410 NARC late model. I love going sideways in Bull Ring. Yeah, I mean, that seems cool too. Florida doesn't have a ton of that, but I can see why. Like, it's really just what's in your area too. If you have a lot of junior dragsters in your area, like, go for it. We have both within 15 minutes from me. We have a really good shifter, we have a really good go-kart track, and we have obviously a really good drag strip. We have a circle track, Freedom Factory, but I don't know if they've ever done anything with like that young of kids involved, like 10-ish years old. I don't know what that looks like, but I don't think they've ever done that. So you have to think about what's accessible, and currently that's just not. All-wheel drive versus rear-wheel drive. I was at the last one, and I really enjoyed that race. I thought it was really cool to see. I think some of those F-150s are awesome. That's one of, like, they just build such a good vehicle. It'd be interesting to see them really try to, like, I mean, I know they're already pretty low, no limits, but take all of the F-150 stuff and put it into like a Fox body or something. Yeah, the engine might sit a little higher, or like something along those lines. Maybe like an S197 where they could push the motor a little bit far back or something. I don't know. It'd be really cool to see like a true all-out deal. Not that those F-150s aren't, but you guys know what I mean. Like, they're still steel frames and like all that good stuff. They're still like a full-size truck, not a car. I thought the drama around Cletus testing was kind of silly. There's not much he can do. It is his test spot. Like, they all have their own test spots. He put on the race. It's $20,000 to win. I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think the Dale truck is like such a ringer that he's just going to go mop the floor with everyone, even if he got some testing. If it was like Manuel or someone like that, maybe I would say, well, probably, I would say if he got a bunch of test passes as much as he wants, then I'd probably be a little bit more angry. But because it's Garrett, it kind of is what it is. Like, you got to accept that that's his test spot. Everybody else has their own test spots. His just happens to be where the race is. And now, not doing it like a month before is probably fair, but you got to expect that he's going to make hits out there. Drip some water on me. Yeah, I don't know. I think the whole Blackwing customize it is kind of just a gimmick that Cadillac has to sell more of them, which of course it is, but it just, I don't know if it's worth it. I think the price becomes so stupid that it makes the car like double the price just to get it painted the color you want, which it doesn't make much sense for that car. It's not like a Porsche where it's already a $250,000 car and then you add another $20,000, $30,000 with options. It's like, it adds so much price to it that it makes it really tough to justify. But I don't have to justify it because I'm not going to get one. The Blackwing is cool. I think they're a little boring looking. I've said this many a times. I think that the Blackwing kind of looks like, it looks like mundane, like they took away like all the venting, like the V3 had a hood vent and like had more aero, and the Blackwing, they just took away a bunch of the it just took away a bunch of the character that it had. Yeah, but like, I get that they're unassuming, but they also still have to be like somewhat aggressive looking. the way that I see the V is it's supposed to be like a if you know car. Like it should stand out to car guys even if they don't know what it is. But that one like kind of doesn't. They've always stood out, but they just like I don't know, even like the wagon that I have, like it should stand out to car guys, but it doesn't have to stand out to everyone. Yeah, their Caddy's pretty cool. Putting like a small block Chevy with nitrous in it is very funny with like the badass 8.8 solid axle and everything. Like Jackie's CTSV is pretty sick. The V2 Coupe makes a pretty good drag car, honestly. But sometimes they end up looking weird. I think when they like pull the wheels really far in and stuff. The 2019 shows, SHO, do you say show or SHOs, are actually really cool. I need a low taper fade. Everybody always talks about hairstyles with me. I've never once looked into a hairstyle. I just cut it myself. I just take some scissors and I go like this to keep the sides from looking too poofy, and I just hope for the best. I look in the mirror and I'm just like click, 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 click. You know, like Edward Scissorhands, like a young Johnny Depp, and I just hope for the best. I haven't gone to a barber in 5 to 6 years. I mean, if someone's just trying to get into drag racing, I would say go. Okay, so it depends on where your level is. Like, if you have a vehicle, I would say, if you've never been down a drag strip, I would say whatever vehicle you have right now, whether that be a Honda Civic, a Prius, anything, go to a test and tune and pull it into the beams many, many, many times. Go to a test and tune and hot lap that thing. If you got a Toyota RAV4, go hot lap it. It'll make as many passes as you want and just hot lap it. Just do that. And see how fast other cars are. See how fast your car is. Get a feel for it. Learn where everything is, and then go from there. If you want a next level, then go try like a bracket race. Go to a bracket race and try your hand at that. And then from there, you can kind of start to actually get your foot in the door of a drag strip and learn where to go next. Because that will come down to more of a preference thing. If you want to build something that's more of a drive to the track, drive home, it's a way different class than a lot of others. If tires are too expensive for us poor Bradenton folks, yeah, but you don't have to go to a big smoky burnout. If you got like a budget, if you got like a car, like a regular car, you're not gonna have to go to a burnout. You go pull around the burnout box and go down the track. It's not gonna spin. It's just gonna go right down the track. It's $15. Was a nitrous 9-second Coyote. Huge regrets. What happened? I feel like a 9-second nitrous Coyote is pretty spicy for the first time at the track. Florida is not very strict with registration. Depending on where the car was originally titled, they might want to look at the odometer, but I don't think so. They're pretty easygoing. My Miata is slow, I say, is 23 seconds, 68 mile per hour. B18, 1994, 2750, weighs 15s. Weight 15s. But again, I mean, it's a Miata. Take it down the track as many times as you can. That's always my... Even like Bronte she took her old car, her Trailblazer RS down the track. She made a few passes with it. I think one time she may have staged with her back tire, but you know, it happens. We've all accidentally done that. It is what it is. But she still, I remembered it because I threw away the time slip when I was cleaning out her car because we were switching everything over to the new car, of course, and I ended up throwing away a time slip that was sitting in the glove box, and I think it went like 86 miles an hour, which it was cooking, 86 miles an hour in like 16 seconds. I was like, all right, it's a 3-cylinder turbo, and it's some Korean car. Those Trailblazer RSs are all made in like Vietnam or something. Where is a Trailblazer RS made? South Korea. Yeah, those are all SAIC vehicles. I don't know where the Traverse is made, though. Where's the Traverse made? Oh, that one says made in... That one says made in Michigan. Look at that. That's what it says. I don't know if that's true, but that's what the Google AI says. I figured it would have been Mexico or Canada. The new ones look the best. I just wish that it had like a 6-cylinder in it. That's my only real gripe with it, is that the motor is a little small. Even if it has enough power to get it moving, it's got enough, oomph. Yeah, she ended up getting a Trailblazer, not the RS, just the regular entry level. It doesn't even have like a trim really on it, but it's probably the LS, I guess you could say. But it has a great amount of options, bucket seats, all the interior is pretty much the same. It has cloth seats, so that's kind of the only ish downside. I like cloth seats. I don't mind not having leather, but I think the leather is nice because you get the AC seats, which is nice. Before she had a Trailblazer RS, now she went up to the Traverse. We got them both from Stingray Chevrolet Bartow. They have been very kind to us. The Trans feels pretty good. It's got they make 328 horsepower, 326 foot-pounds of torque. SAIC makes a lot of the GM vehicles, but I don't think that this one's very SAIC. Maybe they make the engines. I don't know, the LK20. That's what's engines in it. You see, this was one of those deals where Bronte knew what she wanted, but because she knew what she wanted, that means that I had no reason to really look into this vehicle because I wasn't going to talk her out of it. There was no talking her out of it. The only thing that was going to happen was I would dive deep into learning about this vehicle, and then I'd have worries about it. Or there was other vehicles that I was trying to look at, which was like the Ford Explorer. Or her sister just got a Honda Passport, which is actually $10,000, $12,000 more, which I felt was pretty aggressive. But they're very nice. All-wheel drive. It does have general grappler tires on it, which I'm all about economy on these deals. I think it's stupid to get something like that you're literally just gonna putz around town and put some general grappler tires on it, because you're just gonna wear them out and you're not gonna do anything of interest with it. Like, I was talking to them yesterday. I was like, you gonna take that thing off road or anything? And they're like, no, we're kind of too scared to. I don't want to pinstripe it. And I get it. I wouldn't want to take it off road either. It's a brand new $50,000 car. I don't want to get pinstripes on it, get it stuck in the mud. But then you're like, oh, so you're just gonna wear down your nice tires. We did look at a Mazda. We looked at the MX-6 or whatever, the inline 6-cylinder. It didn't have the one option she wanted in the back, which was the ceiling vents in the back 2 rows so that we can point them on the kids, and kind of needed in Florida. It may sound like a little thing, but it's actually a pretty big thing, having roof vents and ceiling vents in the back. You probably don't even think about it on your car, but it's very convenient to have, and that was one of the main options that she wanted. And we use her car very frequently. I mean, of course, because like the car seat's already in there. It's already kind of done deal. It also has them on the center console, which most of them do. So when he's forward facing, which he isn't for now, pulse duration injectors taxes the 90 mile per hour and 70 mile an hour pulse for saving gas without you knowing. Interesting. Yeah, if you don't have air in the back, what are your kids doing? We had a fan in her old car, and how can a 2 or 3 row seat car not have air vents in the back ceiling? It just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, the Traverse has it. That's what we wanted. That's why she ended up with the Traverse. The Ford Explorer did have it though. Some of them have it on the side, which isn't quite as effective. This one has like the classic GM circular ones that have the 3 folds that twist full 360. It's such a classic GM. I don't know if hers has cup holders back there. Hers has bucket seat. Hers has captain's chairs, so maybe not. The classic Tahoe vents, yeah. They're so GM. You can like blindfold me and hand me that and it'd be like, this is a GM air vent. You know, it's like one of those things. I do like the Mercury Marauders. I think it's unfortunate that they never made a Mercury Marauder Ford Ranger. I think they should have taken the Ford Ranger platform and given it to Mercury and said, you know, make some of these. Make them cool. I think they should have done that. They should have made them all black. They should have made like sick ass chrome exhaust tips. They should have put the same wheels on there. They should have lowered it, stiffened the suspension, stiffened up the whole chassis, and then put the same supercharged 32 valve, or not supercharged, but the same motor setup that the Marauders had in there. That's what they should have done. Yeah, that would have been awesome. A Marauder Ranger, nice and low. They could have either done step side or just regular bed. But the step side bed would have looked pretty tight too. Okay, so let's talk about cars that I can't afford. The new 911 Turbo S. It has electric turbos on it. How do we feel about electric turbos? Now, it feels like there's a lot of shit going on. I do like that they're like 710 horsepower. They're like 707. They're like basically, I'm going to start calling them the 911 Hellcat. But I feel there's too many things. They should just go electric. Why go electric turbo? Not all electric, but like they should just go hybrid. They should just make it like there's an electric generator in between the transmission and the engine. They have the same flat six. They make more peak torque, but like, why not just go NA and make it electric assisted? I feel like you can get the same power out of it. It almost seems like a weird crutch that they're giving themselves. Like why are we doing this? Like, I'm not asking for full electric, but just make it hybrid without turbos. It'll sound awesome. It'll have this, I mean, it could easily make 700 horsepower all-wheel drive. Just do that. I don't really get it. I don't really get the whole idea of electric turbos as a power adder. Just make the power with the electric engine. It's almost like there's almost like guaranteed power loss, because instead of using the electric engine to just move the car, you're using it to move the turbos to feed air into the engine. Like, just ditch the middleman. Like it's like there's taxes involved in that. Just ditch the middleman. Maybe that's why their profits are down 98% this quarter. I don't know. I'm not a German engineer, a Porsche engineer, but it just seems silly. It seems like one of those things that people are going to look back on in a few years and be like, why did we do that? Why did we make electric turbos? Maybe I'm wrong. Can we talk about the compressed air cars? I'm really, how would you say? I think that the compressed air supercharging stuff is going to really take off. Have you ever seen Porsche in F1 yet? Are they not in F1, right? Aren't they? Don't they do something? Yeah, Porsche isn't in F1, but they're planning to be, right? No, I mean, it is an electric turbo because it's got the compressor housing, it's got the exhaust housing, and then in the middle is an electric engine, an electric motor that gets the turbos spinning faster. So it's like, why not just take that electric motor, instead of putting it on the turbo, put both of them that you're already using on the wheels in the front, and then leave the engine in the back, naturally aspirated, really high revving, really high compression, make it sound super pissed off, and then boom, you have all the performance you need. I don't understand it. I really just don't get it, and I think it's going to be looked at very unfavorably in 10-ish years. And I think Mate Rimac said it best. He's, owner of Rimac, electric car company, and he makes the motors, and he's a supplier for Porsche. Also, Porsche put turbo on the back of their all-electric vehicle, which is a sin in my book. But he is the CEO of Bugatti, and he said, use one handicap. Pick your handicap. Bugattis are naturally aspirated now, their engine, but they have electric motors as well. So their handicap is the electric motor. People want the nice, loud NA sounding cars. They love V10s, they love V12s, they love V8s. Like, we'll always love that stuff, but pick your handicap. If your handicap is turbos, cool. Don't use a hybrid system. If your handicap is turbo, don't use the hybrid system. Did I already say that? If your handicap is a hybrid system, don't use a turbo. Leave it NA. Pick your handicap, and please, for the love of God, don't use everything. We don't need like the M6, right? How heavy is the new M6? 5,000 pounds? Like, come on. Like, what is it? The M5 hybrid, the newest car, it has pretty much everything. It has electric motors, it has a V8, it just has all of it. They checked all the boxes, and then you end up with a 6,000 pound vehicle. 5,390. It weighs 5,390 pounds. No, my V weighs 4,300. It's like 1,000 pounds lighter. But the problem is some people are already calling it out. And now, like, new cars being dumb using a mix of all the systems, it is dumb. And some people are calling it out correctly. And I think it'll be looked at favorably in the future. Even like a lot of people were talking about Tavarish's taking the hybrid system out of his P1. And I think that's a great idea. It's already going to be twin turbo. It's already going to be a V8. It's already really light. It's just going to be better without the hybrid system. As cool as that sounds and as cool as that seems at the time, I genuinely think that it just isn't necessary. And I think that's why you're going to see the hybrid cars are not as valuable. I think this newest Porsche is not going to be looked at as favorably in the future as like a 991.2 or like a 992, whatever those previous 911 Turbo S's were. Those ones just aren't going to be looked at as favorably. They're going to be looked at as dumb, over-complex hybrid systems that aren't good. And now Porsche does things very well historically, but I still think that there's going to be some more growing pains to using electric turbos. And even on like the GTS where they just use one of them, I still think it's kind of silly, but only time will tell. I'm sure people internally at Porsche are already saying this, and I will say it as well, but we'll see. Even like, think about the best Porsche you can think of. What is it? An NA V10 stick shift car Carrera GT. And even the 918. That thing, it has the exactly what I'm talking about. It has one compromise. Just a hybrid. They didn't add turbos. It's just an NA V8 with electric motors. They already did this with the 918. Everybody keeps saying that the 917 is the best Porsche right now. Or what is it? The 978, what is it called? Yeah, the 978. Everybody keeps hyping those Boxers up and the Caymans up like crazy. And I think they just discontinued them for that reason. But those seem really good. The 718, that's what it is. I knew. You see, dyslexia is tough. That 718 seems freaking awesome. I'm not like the deepest into the Porsche stuff, but I try my best. There's kind of demonetization. Yeah, I think they just discontinued the 718, but it seems so good. And like I said, everybody keeps saying that that's like the best driver's car. Everybody that I heard drive and review them only talk about how good they are. What does the SF90 have? So another thing about like supercars like this is most people like me, drag racers, people that are deeper into drag racing, seem to have like are at odds with supercars and supercar owners. But it's like the pinnacle of awesome engineering. Like they're sick. Why would anybody not like them? Everything about them's cool. The engines, the powertrains, like all of it's cool. Yeah, so like the SF90 is a great example. 4-liter turbocharged hybrid V8. Just pick one. Make it a naturally aspirated like 4.8-liter V8. Ditch the boost and make it hybrid. Like that's what's going to look favorably, I think, in 15 years. It's fine. Like people are going to get past the hybrid, but people will dislike that there's also boost on top of it, because the hybrid system should be good enough to not require boost, and the boost does ruin what should be really good NA sound. I mean, the F40 is awesome because of the sound. And we are at this point where we can have NA cars again. The NA cars can make the power and performance because of the hybrid drivetrain. Stop overcomplicating them. Let's make it simple here, folks. Or sorry, the F40 did have turbos. I was thinking I know the F50 had the turbos too. Was the 288 GTO that didn't, right? No, that one's also turbo. What am I thinking of? The McLaren F1? That's what I'm probably thinking of. 458, yeah. F50, okay, that's what it is. See, I don't even know these well enough. Not that that's surprising. The 458, every time you hear them, sounds awesome. Yeah, the F50 with the V12. We need more of that. Boosted Coyotes are great, but that's the one handicap. You get boost, you know? Like, if you have a car that doesn't have a hybrid system, it should be boosted. If you have a car that does have a hybrid system, don't boost it. I'm sounding like a broken record here. Oh yeah, the Enzo. That one was kind of at a weird time for Ferrari, the Enzo, but they do look really good. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Is Elon Musk's Tesla overvalued? Do you think that it just, like, do you think that it'll grow, or is it not going to be a pump stock anymore? I tried to avoid investing in everything because I don't like most companies for some reason or another, but I tried to get Bronte to get a Ford Explorer. I was pitching it. I was trying. Okay, so we can talk about the three types of hybrid powers. There's power split, series, and parallel. So they can either go in the drivetrain, like in the front wheels, like the ZR1, or the ZR1X, where the front wheels are driven by a hybrid system. It can go in between the engine and transmission, where it drives the transmission. A simple example is like the hybrid Tahoes. They had a electric motor built into the transmission, so basically just added extra power to the transmissions. I think even Dodge has like a system where they build basically an electric supercharger onto the belt drive, where it spins the belt drive to basically act as a supercharger, an electric one. Or the split, I guess, would be the other one, right? Power split is where you use it to create boost. Or even, I mean, I guess there's another one where you have a fully electric car, and then you build a gas generator on it that just charges a small battery instead of having like a giant, huge, 300-mile range battery. You have like a 50-mile range battery that just has a gas motor that charges it. Those are kind of the ways that these operate, and it's worth familiarizing ourselves with this because it is what is to come. And one thing I heard that was very funny about electric vehicles, somebody was talking about it, and they were saying, if we started off with electric vehicles, you would never be able to convince somebody to get a gas vehicle. Like, you would have this electric vehicle and you'd be like, oh, it's clean, it doesn't burn any emissions, there's like no moving parts, there's like one or two moving parts, It it has great acceleration. It's nice and smooth. It's quiet. It's soft. And then you'd be like, here's a gas vehicle. You'd be like, well, okay, cool. Is it more efficient? You'd be like, well, no. Is it loud? Yeah. Does it burn anything? Yeah, it burns a bunch of things. You know, you need oil, you need engine oil, transmission fluid, it burns gasoline. It's like 80% efficient or 70% efficient with gasoline, probably less for a lot of cars. It has a lot of moving parts, thousands of parts that are constantly moving. We have to create a controlled explosion constantly for it to work. The injectors all have to work at the same time. There's a ton of uniformity that has to go on. Valves are constantly opening and closing. There's a lot of service that has to be included in it. Bearings, there's a lot of wear items. You would never be able to convince anyone. It would just not be possible. And even, I guess Henry Ford's quote kind of fits with this. I heard it the other day, but I don't even know if it was from Henry Ford. And he said, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses, which is pretty awesome. Like, you know, people don't know what they want. And Henry Ford even said, like, people would have just asked him for faster horses instead of cars. And yeah, he didn't invent the car, but he brought it to the people. Henry Ford is a well-known airplane developer. Very cool guy. Very, very cool. He wrote a bunch of books. He tried to take over the automotive industry. He was a champion for workers' rights. He was a good dude. I really like everything about Henry Ford. Can't find a fault. Maybe besides his close relationship with Edison. If you didn't know, there's a Ford Edison house about an hour south from me. It's in Fort Myers, I think, and it's really cool to go see. They had a compound where both of them would spend their winters. Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and I don't know his first name, but Firestone would all meet up for the winters at this one spot, and they would just figure things out. They had all kinds of rubber trees. They had like a huge rubber lab where they were trying to make like different kinds of tire compounds and all kinds of stuff. It's just a really cool compound, and you can see they're only maybe 50 feet from each other, where you can walk right to Henry Ford's house from Edison's house, and then their shop and their cars and their garage, and it was all right there. And it was just this really beautiful compound, really worth going to see. It's a cool museum. Definitely recommend it. Ford Edison estate. It's just super cool. I mean, they spent their winters here in like the 30s, I guess it would be. I don't really have much of an opinion on the Koenigsegg dark matter engine. I mean, or motor. It sounds cool. Everything about it seems like a cool situation. Everything Koenigsegg does is pretty awesome. Christian's a leader in the automotive industry, so I kind of naturally fall back to trust what he plans to do. I assume it performs the way that he's hoping, but I don't know. I guess time will tell. But we got to hop off, and we will see what when we do this again. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will see you next time. Go follow the page, Bogetti Studios on YouTube, if you want to hear the whole conversation back again, and we will see you next time.